Hey, welcome to this week's Trinity in 20. It's great to be with you. And today with us is one of our own people, Debbie Woodruff, volunteer par excellence, but also deeply passionate about care and support for individuals and families struggling, suffering with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Debbie, it's great to have you here with us. Good to be able to have you share a little bit. I know you have. Debbie is a plethora. Right before we came down here, the things that she knows about and things she knows about support for those who are struggling with Alzheimer's, either as a patient or as a caregiver, is just immense. So tell us a little bit about what you know.
In 20 minutes or less. But what I do want to share are a few statistics about where the Alzheimer's Association is today and Alzheimer's in general. There are over 6 million Americans living with Alzheimer's today. And I do want to emphasize living. That may be eventually the disease that takes the individual, but they're living with Alzheimer's, just like we're living with, some of us are living maybe with cancer or we're cancer survivors. They're living with Alzheimer's. So 6 million Americans, but there's over 11 million caregivers. And most of those caregivers are family members. And those family members are primarily women supporting their husbands or spouse or other family member, and primarily daughters. And a lot of those daughters are in that sandwich situation where they're supporting their parents or parent. They may be supporting their husband, wife, and they may be supporting their children. Wow. And so that's an overwhelming burden for a lot of our families. And Trinity members are not.
Right.
They are amongst those 11 million caregivers and 6 million Americans today.
Well, we know, people who join us on Sunday, on live stream, here in person, are in early stages of dementias, Alzheimer's, but also caregivers and working with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so it's important to get educational resources out to the community. There are abundant resources available in the Fort Wayne area. Greater Indiana chapter of the Alzheimer's Association is incredibly active in providing those resources, whether they're in-person support groups that meet throughout the area. We have support groups that meet via Zoom. And we have support groups that are doing educational programming. And so it's important that we get that information out because we are available to support those
and it is a lot, right? It is this huge thing. If you're caring for somebody, if you're even just a family member who may not be caring directly, it's still this huge
Absolutely.
thing.
It impacts the relationship throughout the family, not only emotionally, but also financially. And so it's important that those resources that are available, we make it known. So Trinity has been gracious the past couple of years. We've had information in the e-newsletters. October is a really big month for the Alzheimer's Association. It's when we have the majority of the walks throughout the area and throughout the country for that matter. Our walk in Fort Wayne is October the 7th, and it's free to participate. We do ask that you register for the walk. It's over at Parkview Field, and hopefully the weather will be as good as it has been the past couple of years for the walks. And so that is our biggest fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association. So we would encourage you, even if you're not available for the walk, I know the Trinity has a couple of programs that are going on on that day as well. So if you can't walk, we would ask that you would support us through a pledge. And so that's one way to support the community and the Alzheimer's Association. We have entered what we call an era of treatment. And that is because we have had a couple of drugs approved by the FDA within the last 2 years. They are primarily for early onset Alzheimer's. They're not a cure, but it provides us hope that there will be a cure someday. And Alzheimer's is the 4th leading cause of death. It's behind heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. And then there's Alzheimer's. So it's important that we do continue to work for a cure, and we're making miraculous progress. So that hope is out there. So, and the other thing that I wanted to mention is that, again, Trinity is being very gracious. This year on October the 29th, we will be having the program manager for Greater Indiana, John Miller. He will be here at Trinity at 9 o'clock to give a short presentation on awareness. So I would encourage any member of Trinity, anyone who wants to stop in and see that short presentation, maybe get some questions answered, and find out a little bit more about how you can get involved, how you can be supported if you have a loved one that you're caring for.
Yeah. And as we know that so many people, 6 million people right now, 11 million people involved in giving care, but there have been a plethora of people before this moment as well. I know your mother and your family struggled with that. My mother-in-law died from complications related to Alzheimer's. And just to be able to both work for cures and treatments, but also for support for all of us, for those of you who are struggling with this and living with this in this very moment of time, that it's a hard thing.
Yes, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah. You talked, before we came down, you were talking about some resources available. I know that Joe, who does our video stuff, has some slides that you probably have seen or are able to see as we're doing this, that has contact information for support groups, for information, for just general understanding even.
Yes, there is a great website to go to. It's called Community Resource Finder, all one word, .org. And you can find a variety, a plethora of information out there about legal resources, medical resources, support groups. We have 11 support groups throughout Northeast Indiana that meet either face-to-face, virtually. We have a book club that we encourage people to read the books that we are promoting. The Trinity Support Group meets the second Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock from 10 to 11:30 in the Seeds of Faith gathering in the conference room.
Yeah. And we would encourage you to take some time to look through some of those things wherever you are on that journey. And even if you're not intimately involved in that journey, there's a strong possibility that you have a friend, a neighbor, somebody who's close to you who is on that journey. And a little bit of awareness, sometimes a little awareness can be a dangerous thing, but sometimes, though, just a little bit of awareness of what other people are working with this terrible disease just can be helpful and supportive, and a little knowledge can be helpful to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Debbie, thanks for being with me today, sharing some of this. If you have any questions, please let us know. We can get you in touch with Debbie. We can help get you in touch with some of those resources that you've seen and heard about, and we'd love to be able to be a little bit of a help to you. And as always, it's great to be with you, and we'll see you next week.